On the second day of his West Asia trip, United States President Joe Biden met with the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. The meeting, which took place in Bethlehem, also marking a significant aspect of Biden's West Asia trip. On his arrival, U.S. President Joe Biden received a grand welcome and a guard of honor by the Palestinian soldiers. Before meeting Abbas, Biden unveiled a fresh package of economic and technical assistance for the Palestinians. During his visit to the Augusta Victoria Hospital in East Jerusalem, the U.S. President Joe Biden pledged $100 million for Palestinian hospitals in East Jerusalem.
Today, I'm pleased to announce the United States is committing an additional $100 million to support these hospitals, your staffs, and that work for the Palestinian people.
Apart from this, U.S. President Joe Biden is also expected to reiterate his backing for a two-state solution, which envisions an independent state of Palestine alongside the state of Israel. Not just this, in a bid to rebuild ties with the Palestinians, the American president will also announce an additional $201 million for the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees. Beyond this, the U.S. also aiming to build on a call between the Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid and the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. If it takes place, it will be the first leader-to-leader talk in nearly 5 years, which will aim at reconvening the Joint Economic Committee, which has not met since 2009. The U.S. will also send over $7 million in grant money to programs that promote Israel-Palestine collaboration and exchanges. And our correspondent Jody Cohen has been tracking those developments very closely. She's with us now from Tel Aviv. Jody, if you can just summarize what the last few hours have looked like for the American president and the key takeaways.
Absolutely. So President Biden began the morning by visiting this private hospital in East Jerusalem that works with both Israeli and Palestinian health funds. Now, this was a private visit, but it is thought to be the first visit of a U.S. president to the largely Palestinian-populated part of the capital. There he announced, as you said, funding for the Palestinian hospital network, talked about the importance of having access to healthcare in dignity. And some people are saying that this could be just as much a message to his domestic audience back at home as to the Palestinians. He's now currently meeting with President Abbas following that welcoming ceremony that we've seen. He traveled to the West Bank, to Bethlehem, for this meeting. We do know that we're expecting some joint statements to come up. There has been some disagreement between the United States and the Palestinian Authority on the wording of this joint statement surrounding Jerusalem, with no resolution that we've heard of so far. And the United States was keen to talk about potentially a future Palestinian state in East Jerusalem, and the Palestinians wanted it to refer to be East Jerusalem and other areas, which obviously Israel disagrees with both those positions. Israel would like to see Jerusalem remain unified. So we do know that, as well as these announcements that we know are going to be coming out of these statements after the meeting between Abbas and Biden today, we've also heard of some announcements that are already coming out concerning Saudi Arabia. Now, President Biden is going to be taking a flight later on this afternoon from Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. This is going to be a historic first flight from Israel to Saudi Arabia by a U.S. president, a direct flight there. And we've also heard that there's been a historic decision, that's quoting President Biden again. Saudi Arabia had decided to open up their airspace to Israeli flights going to and from Israel. So big news there. In practice, what does that mean? You know, on a leader level, this is being welcomed. Prime Minister Lapid has talked about this as being a first step towards normalization. But on the people-to-people level, this actually has practical implications. So, for example, to fly direct from Tel Aviv now to Mumbai would take a mere 5 hours instead of the 8 hours previously. And it's also expected to lower costs. So implications there for people on the ground as well. And we can expect more with President Biden's meetings later on in Saudi Arabia.
Right, and a reiteration of the two-state solution by the American president as well. Jody, if you can also tell our viewers more about what the next few hours will be looking like for the American president as he continues his West Asia tour.
Right, so he's currently meeting with President Abbas, and then we're expecting President Biden and President Abbas to give statements to the media, where we're expecting to hear more announcements there concerning the Palestinians. Then a little bit later, I have heard that there's a question mark over this part of the schedule, depending on if time allows. But President Biden would like to visit the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem. And we've been hearing a number of references throughout this trip to his Christian roots. So that will be significant to him. He'll then be making his way to Tel Aviv, where he'll be coming to Ben Gurion Airport, to a private section of this airport. And he will be flying directly from Israel to Saudi Arabia, which is a very significant step and is being seen. President Biden himself has referred to this as a sign of times to come in terms of normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel. And Prime Minister Lapid has asked President Biden to take with him a message of peace from Israel to King Salman.
Jody Cohen with us from Tel Aviv, getting us through those updates coming in from the American president's West Asia tour. We're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.